All right. Thursday night's game, Minecraft tonight. Kicking off Irvine Dragons against Lone Tree Eagles in week 4. And again, red-green on the teams. Let's get our speed set here so we can zip around. And just a reminder, Diamond 2 for 5 minutes 43 seconds. The actual engagement won't start until Emerald 2. Until then, the players will be mining resources and defining their strategy before they start to engage the other team. So Irvine is going to be red, Lone Tree will be green, and we're watching the teams start off right now as we see Lone Tree constructing their first bridge over to the Diamond Island as they begin collecting their initial resources. So we'll just keep an eye on everything as we go along. 5 minutes to go until the party begins. In the meantime, we'll just keep an eye on the players and see what their current strategies are. So looks like Irvine's going to go ahead and split for 2 islands right out the gate. And 4v4 as we begin tonight's first game, best of 3 of Minecraft Bedwars. All right, Irvine constructing their initial barricade over the bed. Looks like they're going to go ahead and keep their initial construction fairly small, probably saving resources for weapon upgrades and other items. We saw earlier Lone Tree's build up. They are doing a multi-layered cake, if you will, a pyramid. We see the obsidian and the lower blocks as they construct their initial. They appear to be going for the waterfall this time. Last week we saw them kick off a pretty massive waterfall to slow down players on top of the bed. It looks like they've moved away from that this time. Maybe again also trying to save their resources. They did construct a little tunnel here to limit other players coming through too quickly. The other bridge here is fairly basic, so just the layout here, especially going from mid, it looks like this map has 2 mid islands actually, so that's a little unusual where we see 4 emerald collection points. We don't normally see that many on the other maps. So interesting construction here where we have two midpoints, but just makes it all the more fun. So multiple avenues of approach when the teams do wind up engaging. 57 seconds till Emerald 2, so we will keep an eye out. Looks like they're going to start fighting here fairly quickly. And then we also see Irvine throwing roadblocks here onto the bridge to slow players down. So we'll see how effective that is once the action starts in 40 seconds. All right, Emerald 2, we are engaged now, so the offense does begin as Lone Tree starts building out their first bridge to mid. And let's see if Irvine got the memo. Looks like they are still building out their fort. Oh, but I do see them bridging over, so it looks like, yep, looks like they got a bridge connected to mid, so let's go a little bit lower here and see if we can see any activity. Don't see any just yet. We'll keep an eye out and see if they manage to work their way over. All right, Lone Tree with their initial bridge to mid, and still not a lot of activity from Irvine just yet. Flying around looking to see. I see one of their players tooling around here. Let's see if we can find anyone else. Oh, they're hiding around here somewhere. Oh. We got two in the okay, two inside, one. Oh, there's the other one. All right, so 4 players. Everyone's still on their base, still building up their bed fortifications. So let's see, Lone Tree. Oh, doing their initial. Oh, here comes an assault from Lone Tree as they work their way across the bridge. Oh, and G Mega falls off into the void, so he's going to have to reset. So it looks like Jackson is going to be doing the initial offense by himself. Oh, but we do have bridging going on also, so a nice 2-pronged attack. And no fireballs in evidence, so no long-distance explosions of the ramps. And it looks like Braden is going to go ahead and go over the top. And Jackson following, so high approach as they try to do an early drop onto the bed. And Braden blocks off the waterfall, which takes care of that. So the waterfall is dissolving. And Irvine's defense, oh, and they're trying to bridge up to him, and Braden engages and knocks him off. So Jackson and Braden have the high ground. Oh, there's the first fireball. Jackson into the void. Braden still trying to bridge over, destroys their initial waterfall covering the bed, and it looks like it's going to go all the way down. Drops on top of it. Sets some TNT. Uh-oh, this is going to be, does some serious damage. Takes the sacrifice into the void. And let's see if Lone Tree can bridge out any more offense. Doesn't look like they have any follow-up, unfortunately. Irvine going to try to repair the damage, but that TNT did some serious damage to their bed. 3 players still in the base. No sign of a 4th player. Let's see if anyone else is trying to engage Lone Tree. Does not appear to be. Lone Tree 1 defender back. 3 pushing forward as they engage and knock Irvine player into the void. Jackson also took a dive, but we got 3 players now engaging across the bridge. Oh, looks like Irvine is up on top of the high ground, but he's gonna have to come back and defend, and he just drops. He's gonna have to cross the bridge. 3 players on the bed doing some damage. This could be a very fast round if they are not stopped soon. Oh, looks like Lone Tree took out their bed. Another Irvine player into the void. 1 player left. And Lone Tree is working some magic right now. Fireball Blaze back here on the defense. And another Lone Tree player coming from behind. It's a build war, but it may not matter. He's surrounded. Fireball. Oh, nope. Stays on. Does not get knocked into the void. Braden building high. And gets knocked into the void. And he goes into the void. Fireball at the last second does nothing. Game over. Lone Tree takes the first round. All right, we're going to take a couple minutes to reset. We'll be right back. Round 1 goes to Lone Tree. All right, welcome to game 2 of tonight's action. Lone Tree took round 1 in tonight's best of 3. So if they can knock it off this round as well, this will conclude the match for tonight. So this is game point. Lone Tree again in red, Irvine Dragons in, Lone Tree in green, Irvine Dragons in red. And they had a roster change as they were playing with some subs before, so this should be their main squad. So let's see if they put up a bigger fight this time than we had last game. Definitely looking forward to a great match, and we'll keep an eye on them. So 5 minutes, 20 seconds for them to build up their initial resources. So we'll keep an eye on things and see where we go. And action starts at Emerald 2 in just 5 minutes and 10 seconds. Last match, Lone Tree had an excellent strategy, playing a pretty heavy offense. They were running a 3-player forward, 1-player D onslaught right out of the gate almost, and it definitely proved to be a pretty overwhelming strategy as they took out Irvine's bed fairly quickly. So we'll see what Irvine does differently this game to adjust, and we will see if Lone Tree is able to pull off a second wind just as quickly as the first. All right, Lone Tree building up an initial pyramid on top of their bed. Irvine doing something similar. And we got 3 minutes left until Emerald 2 kicks off, as both players seem pretty much running similar strategies. No major fortifications on the base, a few bumps on the path leading to and from the Diamond Islands. Mid is going to be the most important. This particular game now, we don't have 2 mids anymore, we just have the 1. So taking control of mid becomes all the more important, since this is the only source of emeralds for the higher tier weapons. Last game, Lone Tree made real effective use of a TNT block. Not a lot of fireballs. That looks like a fireball was just wasted. Hold on. I think we're being engaged. All right, looks like they had a little bit of a miscommunication there and sent a fireball at us, but the coach has been told, and he told his player, not time to engage yet. We got a minute before that happens. Definitely some eager players ready to go, and we will be happy to entertain them here in just another minute and 7 seconds. All right, huge shout out to our biggest fan tonight, our biggest fan in the audience, Irvine Dragons, watching our stream. Welcome to the game, guys. We're kicking off here in 10 seconds as we approach Emerald 2. And the players are counting down. Lone Tree with a big waterfall. Let's see if it does anything for them on the defense. And it looks like Irvine also is using some water strategy as well. And here goes our first bridge to mid. And looks like both teams are currently bridging, so we should see some action here shortly. Fireball overhead. Oh, nope, that's from the original one. All right, so initial, they do have some fireballs this time as Lone Tree engages. And it looks like a little bit of a chase going on. Oh, one Irvine player into the void. Up top, 2v2. And Braden taking them on gets taken out as 2 Irvine players approaching the bridge to Lone Tree's island. And 1 player now gets knocked into the void with the sacrifice. There was a trade. It looks like Irvine made the first assault. Lone Tree reciprocating as they come charging back. Irvine built a high bridge, so no using that as a reverse path until they bridge up some steps to take advantage of it. Irvine players coming in, jumping off onto mid. All right, Irvine player gets knocked into the void. Lone Tree goes on the defense. Lone Tree had a player drop off, but they have reconnected since, so now they are regrouping. And this looks like a much different game than we saw in the last round, as Irvine putting on a hard press through mid to Lone Tree's bed. So Irvine knows that this is a must-take game, and they are definitely playing like it is. Broken bridge from mid. Irvine collecting the emeralds. Only one player currently in here, and he falls off into the void. So no players in mid currently, as Irvine respawns in their base and continues to forward press from their station. Oh, here we go, another Irvine player onto mid. They are putting up a bit of a constant stream on the offense here. Lone Tree coming in to deal with. Jackson engaging and loses the duel. Irvine with fairly high health, still about 3/4. Oh, Fireball knocks another player into the void, building high across the bridge as Lone Tree also starts to go vertical. And we turn into a little bit of a build war here as Irvine starts to press for the high ground. He's only got so many blocks though. And let's see who else is around. Lone Tree getting a little excited. Oh, here comes a fireball. And does not knock the other player into the void, but definitely knocks him back. So he'll relinquish that position. Two Irvine players looking to cross the open space to Lone Tree's base. And here we go, Lone Tree engaging again. Defensive. Fireballs doing some damage. Two players traded into the void. Fire started, but no significant damage done here. Lone Tree players back. Here we go. And so far now, this game, the offense has been all on Irvine's side. So Lone Tree is going to need to start pressing in order to take some of the pressure off of them as Irvine continues to press through mid, sending two players forward continuously. All right, Lone Tree taking a long route around the backside. Irvine coming through mid. Let's see if it changes their outlook if they see somebody sneaking around the flank. All right, so early bridge to yellow provides a good path for Lone Tree as they had two pressing forward. Now it looks like just one. As he's pressing in, I don't really see anyone there defending. This might be, oh, here they come. Now they see him. So this is going to be a sneak attack. Oh no, G-Mega gets dropped into the void after he presses. Three players back for Irvine. Lone Tree continuing to press. Okay, so now some momentum shift as Lone Tree starts pressing on the offense against Irvine. Gabray J on the bridge. Waterfall mostly negated here on Irvine's build for their bed. Let's see if Braden can sneak in there. Looks like he can't quite get up there. He's got some blocks in between him for some defense. Irvine sees him. Oh, they got some ranged weapons. Oh, as the fireball gets deflected. Oh, Jackson, drops into the void. Unfortunately, Braden also drops into the void. Two players down. Oh, and G-Mega coming in also trying to do some damage. Just sacrificing himself, gets eliminated. Some minor damage as Irvine continues to build up their bed and rebuild their defenses. One Irvine player coming through mid. And we are looking to see where everyone's hanging out at the moment. Looks like players inside of Lone Tree base, players inside of Irvine base as they wait for the next wave. Not sure if they're going to press forward just yet. Oh, here comes Lone Tree. Two players on the offense. A third player following quick behind. Green bed destroyed. What just happened? Oh, they got invaded. So unfortunate. Now we have Lone Tree with a dead player. Okay, so green team is now required to do a last-minute assault because their bed is destroyed. No more respawn. They are not going to respawn anymore, so they have to take this bed and destroy three players in this 1v3. Not good odds. Lone Tree trying to sneak one in there. Looks like they're not going to be able to pull this off. Jackson trying to hold on, but is not going to happen. Drops the last minute TNT for an explosion. Does not happen. Very minimal damage there. And there is one Lone Tree player left. G-Mega waving his sword. Not going to do much damage with that, though. Fireball takes out the bridge and leaves G-Mega without a path to engage. So, knocking some players off into the void. Ultimately, probably not going to matter. G-Mega, game over. Irvine takes game number 2 to tie up the match, 1 game apiece as we go into the 3rd round. That'll be coming up here in just a moment. We'll be back with you shortly. All right, round 3, tonight's best of 3. Lone Tree against Irvine. Lone Tree Eagles against Irvine Dragons. Lone Tree and Irvine with 1 game apiece on the win, as Lone Tree tries to bring it home for this 3rd round. Lone Tree is in green, Dragons in red. I suppose that's fairly fitting, actually. Dragons in red, so that actually kind of works good. Eagles green is not so much, but Dragons red, red Dragons, I like it. So building of the beds going on both sides of the house. Oh, but we have an early bridge to mid. Yeah, our players do that sometimes too. But weren't supposed to do that, but as long as we're not on mid, we'll go with it. All right, so Lone Tree, we're going to go ahead and adjust, and we will go ahead and bridge 2, but not connect to mid, and not bridge over, so we'll keep things a little square, and no problem. And we are still rolling to the countdown, 4 minutes and 10 seconds until Emerald 2, as we look forward to an exciting match between Irvine Dragons and Lone Tree Eagles. All right, both teams building out. Lone Tree getting a little bit of a late start, building out to their diamonds, but shouldn't slow them down. They got 3 and 45 left, so should be doing just fine. Oh, actually, I was saying that about Lone Tree. I should have said that about Irvine. So Irvine bridging out to their diamonds. Lone Tree is already there. And both teams working their early game strategies. Lone Tree likes their waterfalls, and that's definitely a drop fall if ever I've seen one, as they continue to build up their defensive strategy. Irvine also building out. 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in the countdown, as we wait for both teams to get to the engagement phase. So we'll kind of park here for a little bit, just the general overview, maybe just a little bit closer. We can see everybody on a bird's eye view of the island. Again, 1 island this time, not 2 like we had the first map. We're matching the map we had last game, where we had just a single midpoint island. And 2 minutes and 20 seconds left until we engage. Oh, just another time check in here. Diamond 2, 1 minute and 30 seconds left till Emerald 2, and that's when we will engage. So we'll watch the clock as we continue to watch both teams build up their initial bed strategies. All right, 13 seconds till we do our initial engagement. Lone Tree waiting to jump onto mid. Irvine also anxiously awaiting as both teams are going to go ahead and meet in the middle. We're going to watch this little clash, and the clock ticks, and engagement happens. 2v3 on the initial as they flank through mid. Action up top. Explosions going off, fireballs getting launched. Oh, there, Irvine early taking out some aggression on Lone Tree's bridge with some early fireballs. Oh, and Lone Tree in the mid. We'll come inside here and take a look and see what's going on. Irvine going back, possibly to heal. Looks like the Lone Tree players were eliminated. And we see 3 Irvine players on mid collecting emeralds. And Lone Tree coming back out to repair the damage done to their bridge as Irvine is waiting for them. No long-range weapons currently, so it's just more of a sword-waving competition, but Lone Tree going vertical, trying to make the jump, can't quite make it, and goes into the void. But the respawn is not far away, fortunately for Lone Tree. And trying to figure out why I got this music in the background all of a sudden. Well, if nothing else, it's very soothing and putting me to sleep, so there we go. All right, Irvine building up some steps. And more fireball activity as Amazing Gamer stands watch. And looks like Irvine has penetrated into Lone Tree base on top of the bed, digging in. No damage done yet, but 2 Lone Tree players. And there we go. And the Irvine player eliminated, but does not look like he was able to do significant damage. And no other Irvine players currently approaching. All right, here they are pressing across mid, so Irvine keeping up the constant pressure, and now flanking to the right, and creates a pretty fast bridge. So we will keep an eye and see what's going to happen here. Lone Tree fairly defensive at the moment. Oh, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and build up and take the Skyway themselves. Ray J running over the top. Irvine coming over the middle, but not able to climb over the midpoint bridge since there is some height restrictions in place. Braden trying to sneak in behind the scenes. Fireball launched at him, misses as Braden drops onto the bridge and makes his way across. They'll need good communications because Irvine doesn't seem to see him as Braden starts to tunnel. Oh, now Loppy Froggy finally gets in there and starts attacking. Braden drops a fireball, but gets knocked off into the void. Similar attacks going on the Lone Tree side as Irvine is on Lone Tree base. Jacked one up, comes up to top and trying to take him out. Unsuccessful as he keeps high ground. Fireball takes care of that, drops him off. Suit's doing some good damage, but ultimately falls into the void. 4 Lone Tree players in the base. Irvine player in mid. And nobody flanking from the right. So clear on the right. 2 paths into the base, 1 center and 1 on the left. Irvine kind of hanging out a little bit in mid. And retreating back to base to do some repairs. All right, midpoint clear at the moment. Lone Tree making a jump across mid. 2 players on the offense. And 2 Irvine players crossing paths. Lone Tree going high, Irvine going low. Lone Tree defense, 2 defensive players back, 2v1, Fireball cuts off his route of exit. And 2 players engaging as he goes for the assault. And he is eliminated. So, no players coming across right now. Let's go take a look and see what Lone Tree is doing. Up. Lone Tree. Not present at the moment. So both beds still intact. Both defenses damaged somewhat. Both teams regrouping. And Lone Tree mounting another assault as a couple players stay back and refortify their bed. So following a Lone Tree player through mid, and 1 Irvine player on mid, another Irvine player. It looks like a little bit of lag going on there as he gets insta-warped. 1v1 engagement. Cabreje chasing. Okay, and Irvine coming over the top and trying to sneak. And Lone Tree sees them. Fireball knocks him down the lower level, doesn't put him in the void, but Cabreje is there to clean up and takes out the Irvine player. 4 Lone Tree players back in their base, 1 Irvine player coming across the top. This game showing a lot more back and forth than we saw in the last 2 games. 2 Irvine players. Ranged weapons from up on high. A Fireball misses. And that's unfortunate because those fireballs are a bit pricey. Oh, Lone Tree player gets blasted, tries to do some damage. Doesn't look like any damage occurred. He did blast himself off into the void for his efforts. Ranged weapons up on high as Cabreje comes under the bottom. Squared Muffins takes a fireball but doesn't really go anywhere. Let's see if he didn't really take any damage. He's still full health and he's got his bow and arrow as Cabreje builds up and comes running back. Jacked Up is on the bottom, taking on 2v1, trying to do some damage down there, gets eliminated. Irvine coming over the bridge they built. Oops, I'm getting blocked here by these own blocks. There we go. Fireballs doing some damage. 3 Irvine players, only 1 able to cross, gets eliminated fairly quickly by 3 Lone Tree players. Irvine building high. And jumps into the mix. Lone Tree there to meet them. Up and takes a trip with them into the void. Okay, and we're going high again, so Irvine going vertical. Lone Tree also trying to go vertical. And right now, it's basically a 4v1 as we try to see who can go highest. And he drops into the water, tries to swim in, unable to really do any damage, gets eliminated fairly quickly as a 4-on-1. And more Irvine players coming across, but they're going to have to bridge. Falls into the void. Lone Tree is going to have to bridge back out as well. And no offense coming from Lone Tree just yet, as Irvine seems to be doing all the offense in the last couple minutes. All right, so right now it looks like we have all... Nope. All right, looks like we got some action going on over here, so we'll follow Lone Tree as they come retreating back into the void. That's one way to get away. Fireball does a few damage, but not really enough to make it worth the fireball. But second fireball. And we have some fire going on. 2 players, they're not going to be able to get across the bridge, but they do have ranged weapons, so they are able to shoot from afar. As we see an invisible player dropping in, and that is unfortunate because if they're invisible, they're very difficult to see. Their weapon is the only thing giving them away. It looks like Lone Tree was able to detect... Oh, nope, and they found him and dropped him into the void. That's how they lost the last game, so they were able to detect it this time and didn't fall to it, but yeah, invisible players are definitely a danger. G Mega looking for making repairs on the central bridge. 2 Lone Tree players pushing mid as they try to generate a little bit of offense because what has recently been a very defensive game for Lone Tree. Irvine 3 on the island, a 2v3 with Lone Tree. Another Lone Tree player coming up to support, but G-Mega and Jack one up both got eliminated. Gabre in the middle, running back as he's chased by 3 Irvine players. And they are there ready for him. And kicked one off into the void. Another Irvine player making it through and traded Lone Tree player and Irvine player into the void. 2 more players into the void. So we're now fairly neutral as Lone Tree has 4 players on their base. 2 from respawn. Lone Tree pushing mid, and Irvine coming out to meet. Looks like a 1v3 as G-Mega jumps over and tries to run. He makes a sprint for it, but gets dropped into the void for his efforts.
Oh, God. Oh, no, it's a 2v1.
Okay, Braden taking on a little more than he can chew in mid and pays for it. Jackson there to try to offer some support, but again, another 1v2 as Jackson is pushed into the void. 2 Irvine players pushing across mid. Lone Tree on the defensive, again, here on the central bridge. G-Mega full health, well, was full health till he walked through the fire. Now he's on fire, so into the water he needs to go. Not sure if he realizes that. There he goes, Fireball takes out Irvine player, breaking the bridge up high as he gets knocked into the void. G-Mega runs through center, Fireball does some serious damage. And Amazing Gamer returning back home, or at least to mid. All right, so a much more slow-played game this round, as both teams realize that this is the end-of-the-line scenario. 3 Lone Tree players through mid, as they're met by 2 Irvine players, and they are able to eliminate 1 and almost, but now 2. So 3 players pushing hard, Irvine player there to meet them. Fireball misses, unfortunately, and they are facing a 3v3, but Lone Tree is damaged. And it looks like it's a 2v3 because their other player came up from on high, so traded down into the void. Fireball, another Lone Tree player, 2 Lone Tree players into the void. Irvine player falls back to recoup. So most of the action now, no flanking really going on here, so it looks like most of the action is going to go across the mid. Lone Tree was still with a good defense on their bed, as well as Irvine. And G-Mega gets eliminated by Suts. So it looks like we're just trading some action inside mid. Fireballs is take out 2 of the Irvine players, 1 Lone Tree players. They almost snuck across. Fireball in defense. And it looks like Fireball Blaze is living up to his name, launching a bunch of them this game. Okay, 2 over the top, heading off to Irvine's side of the house. And it looks like we're going to have a 2v2 over the bridge. Fireball's thrown, but nothing really done. 1 Lone Tree player goes down, Jackson taken out, and then the Irvine players are going to continue pressing through mid as Lone Tree has 1 on defense. Okay, Jordan falls into the void, but that bridge is a little too much to gap, a little too big of a gap to jump, so Irvine tearing down some other blocks so they can build some more. Fireball with great effect knocks 1 into the void, shortens the bridge, basically puts paid to their attempt to try to cross. And then in its place, Ray J takes the low ground. Fireball up high does not knock Irvine player into the void. as they bridge around their high structure, and they're going to try to drop on top of the bed. Fireball Blaze Z there waiting for him as he takes an incremental jump down, jumps into the water. Nope, not quite. As he's building up and being quite a distraction because all four players are currently watching here and not watching anywhere else. All right, Irvine player just kind of hanging out there up on top, so we'll just kind of have to wave at him as he keeps building higher. Really not much of a threat until he drops down. And there he dropped. And he gets engaged and now makes his assault on the bed. Too many players there, though, to make that a reasonable possibility. But another Irvine player comes in from behind as they start taking out. Low health, though, not going to make it. Lone Tree repels the attack. G-Mega low, very low on health, but goes ahead and starts pressing for his own push into an offensive role. And does some damage. Goes back for the respawn. Braid J gives chase. And Irvine player coming over the top. Oh, 4v1 as Braden turns around and returns back to base with 4 Irvine players in tow.
No!
And Braden goes and takes a nosedive off into the void. 2 Lone Tree players back on the defense. And Irvine penetrating. Oh, and G-Mega giving chase, but let's see if they have anyone else here in the base, and it doesn't appear to be. Not sure if that was a lure. 1 Irvine player back, keeping watch. And it looks like we're going to have a flanking maneuver. G-Mega engages, gets eliminated. Loppy Froggy unopposed to the bed. Ignores the bed. It hits Jackson from behind. That was an interesting move. I'm surprised he didn't attack the bed while he was right there unopposed. I mean, he could just dove into the water. But anyway, tactical error. Not going to complain about that. G-Mega jumps over the top and gives chase to Square Muffin. One v1 turns into a 2v1 as Square Muffin eliminates G-Mega. Lone Tree players regrouping. All right, 3 Lone Tree players, 1 into the void, just did a trade off of the bridge. 3 Lone Tree players on the offense. Nope, just 2 on the offense. G-Mega stays back. We'll keep a watch over here as they go over the top and take the high ground as they make an assault on Irvine's fortifications. Fireball knocks him into the void. Braden over the top, takes the center route. Skip, and tries to engage Suts. Jackson and Braden both in on the bridge, still there after a fireball. 3 players making the assault. Oh, 1 into the void. 2v1 Lone Tree against Irvine. Another Lone Tree player into the void. The last Lone Tree player into the void. Irvine repels the attack as Lone Tree was trying to fight to get across that bridge. Irvine player coming over mid. Looks like they're going to go ahead and take the high ground here as well. 1 player. And looks like that player has invis. G-Mega fell into the void. And an invis player approaching. I didn't think they saw that. All right, so using invis again, another Irvine player is able to destroy Green's bed as they did not notice the player disappear. And it looks like Irvine is going to take this second or third match as Lone Tree is out of players. There is 1 player left. Not sure where they are just yet. Looking around for him. So Irvine players advancing on Lone Tree base, but they also knew they need to keep an eye out because that Lone Tree player doesn't need his base anymore. But in order to win, they would have to not only knock out the bed, they would also have to knock out all the other players, which is a pretty unlikely scenario, no matter how you cut it. So right now we're waiting to see where the other player is. Not really sure where they're hiding. Oh, here we go. And the last engagement. Fireball cuts. Jackson valiantly trying to hang on. And no dice. All right. So Lone Tree goes down to Irvine Dragons. Irvine Dragons take the third match in this best of 3. So Irvine wins 2 matches to 1. Good game, everybody. It was a well-played match. And we'll see you next week on Thursday for next week's match. In the meantime, have a good evening, and we'll see you next time.